Lawrence is not on yet.
Okay, we're live.
We're live. All right, we'll call this October 9th, 2025 meeting of the Ad Hoc Reconstitution Committee and Executive Committee meeting to order. Item B, approval of the minutes, Ad Hoc Reconstitution Committee, Executive Committee meeting and Executive Committee meeting of September 11th, 2025. Is there a motion?
For a motion, there's I did read through them and offered a few quick suggestions that are highlighted in yellow on page 3 and 4. They're mostly just related to just a mistype of, like, it made it sound like I was taking ownership of something, and so I just wanted to make it clear that, like, that first page, it's the consultant team, not just myself, but me, Andy, and Joel, which is what was actually said on the recording. So we just fixed that. And then the second one was confusing about the survey feedback. It made it sound like I received the survey feedback personally as Catherine rather than OJRSA as an entity. So we fixed that also. So just so you know, that's a good change.
All right, is there a motion with the edits as noted in the documents detailed by Catherine?
So moved.
Motion, second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, committee discussion and action items. Item number 1, consider updated master plan recommendations and consider action items listed in the new review summary sections, pages 1 through 3, Exhibit A. Catherine.
Yeah, so I think this will be quick. Basically, page 3 onward is mostly what everybody saw before, with a few just small edits based on feedback I got from the last meeting. The new part was kind of just like as the request to make this more simple to digest, putting a summary at the beginning. So it ends up being 2 pages, really, when you eliminate that large header there. So if anybody has questions, this is just a summary of kind of next steps where things stand with respect to the master plan. So I'm happy to go through it in more detail, or if anybody has questions, we can talk about it. I know we've got a lot of things in the agenda today, and we covered this pretty thoroughly last meeting, so up to y'all.
Does anybody have any questions or comments or things they would like to discuss? Let's give them just a minute to look at it. See, most of you look my way, so I'm assuming you had a chance to take a look at that. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I don't really, but if I have anything that is an update to this that we don't need to discuss in here, you just want me to send it to you? Because I guess this has to do with the document that we were involved in that we commissioned back a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
And I can just let you know where some of this stuff stands.
Yeah, I mean, in general, this is to be a living, breathing document that you guys can update. Some things might come off the plate as priority as things evolve. Other things may come back to the front burner. Some of these suggestions that came from the master plan, the ownership of who actually does the implementation isn't necessarily OJRSA or the OJRSA board, but is a suggestion about the municipalities as a whole. We learned last month about the pilot project right now with the Coney County and Seneca to kind of talk about land use immediately adjacent to the city. So I just offered a few other ideas. If you guys want to move forward with them, that's up to everybody in this room. But yeah, this doesn't have to be a final approved document that just gets a stamp and is done.
Mhm.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, it may be good, Chris, to update the board on these, on what Catherine's provided here at the next, or at a future board meeting. I know the three of us are here, but for the edification of that group.
Well, this is the guiding document that this board's gonna work off of,
Yeah.
or this committee's gonna work off of, every board probably needs to know. You're right. I agree.
I'll provide it at the next meeting. And I can just add my comments to that, Catherine, when I do it. I'll just
Yeah.
copy you if it's something that specifically pertains to us.
Perfect.
Because there's a lot of stuff we do in here, it's just practice anyway.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, moving on to item 2. Is Lawrence with us yet? Has he woke up?
He's here. So just,
I'm here.
Oh, all right, I didn't know. He was
Still in
working on.
pajamas.
Yeah, you got like a shirt and tie and, boxers on that screen there. So Lawrence, we
Don't
have,
answer that, please.
I'm just not gonna go there.
yeah, so we have an update on discussion with Oconee County Attorney regarding County Ordinance 34 utilities. Lawrence Flynn.
Yep, so I actually had a couple of emails back and forth with David Root, County Attorney. We finally got circled up yesterday. Pretty short and sweet conversation, but the end result is that he said he agrees, based on his review of the sewer use regulation as codified in the county's code of ordinances, that he doesn't believe that it needs to be there any longer, and so he is going to make recommendation and theoretically could have a draft of an ordinance for first reading on the agenda for next week, pending confirmation with the administration to go ahead and repeal the 2 offending sections of Chapter 34, which are, I think it's Article 3 and Article 4, dealing with sewer use regulation. And so hopefully have that repealed by year end. So Chris and I both have a tickler in our calendar to follow up next week and see if that repeal ordinance has been put in place. But we'll stay on them to make sure that happens as we continue to move along. So good news on that front.
Awesome. Yay. Thanks, Lawrence. Thank you.
Good work, Lawrence. Oh, and I neglected to do, for the record, to welcome Mayor Linda Oliver to our group today, even though you keep batting me away. You're here with us, so I want to thank you for being here today and participating in the discussion that is going to affect us all. Now, moving on to item C3, update on outstanding municipal sewer debt. Lawrence Flynn.
So I had a conversation with Michael Burns and Brandon Norris, as well as Michael Kozlaric, the respective bond counsels for Seneca, Westminster, and Walhalla last Friday. Really good conversation. They were all generally aware of these conversations that are going on, but wanted to just bring them up to speed on the status of the Reconstitution efforts, the work and discussions that this group is having, and then share a copy of the ad hoc committee report so that they would have it for their records. But really dug in on the conversation around what it would look like in the event the Reconstitution occurred and the consolidation of the various collection systems were captured by the reconstituted entity, and how that would be dealt with for outstanding revenue bond purposes for each of the various systems. There were some conversations around necessary USDA consent, which deals with some of the Westminster debt, and I believe some of the Walhalla debt. There's an open issue on some of the Walhalla debt because of the water plant and the combined resources that are pledged as security for those obligations. But I think they basically just took it in as information under advisement. And so I think the next step is that they're going to be reaching out to their respective contacts in each of the cities. So the folks that are obviously in the room right now, I think should expect some conversation. If you don't hear anything, I think I would maybe just plan to put that back on the front burner for them to have them start digging into it, because as we talked about, this is obviously going to be a kind of a long running issue that needs to otherwise be addressed, and we'd like to know what the process is for each of you sooner rather than later. So I don't know if any of them have reached out subsequent to our conversation last week, but the die had been cast, and so now it's just a matter of continuing to keep it on the front burner as an issue.
For what it's worth, I've had pretty good, I think, 2 conversations with Mike Burns on ours. So,
Okay.
or on Westminster's, I should say. So we're well underway. All right. Any other comments, questions for Lawrence regarding that? All right. We will move on. Lawrence, anything else?
I'm good.
Okay, moving on to item C4, consider approving draft of recommended revisions to South Carolina Code of Laws Title VI, Chapter 35, Joint Authority Water and Sewer Systems Act, and submitting to Oconee County delegation for consideration. Exhibit B, Lawrence Flynn.
So this is the same version that y'all have seen now going on for the last several months. No material changes. I think what we're really just looking for is the direction, and I think the conversation we had out of the meeting last month was to make contact with Senator Alexander and some of the other members of the Oconee delegation. I believe some initial attempts to do so have started, and that was where I think the thing is supposed to move forward. There are no material changes to the terms of the documents. Obviously, we would get whatever feedback we're going to get from legislative drafting once it gets turned over to them. But I really would defer to maybe you and Chris as to the conversations that have been had with the various political leadership in the county about getting that introduced.
So we had that one conversation with Senator Alexander a while back. Have you had any subsequent conversations, Chris?
I've met with Senator Alexander since our last meeting here, and we went over the document again. I provided him with a paper copy, and he asked for an electronic copy to be submitted to him as well. I have been less successful in establishing a meeting with Representative Duncan and Whitmire. We've just been kind of going back and forth, not been able to find a time to get together.
All right. Any other comments, questions related to that?
I think
Go ahead,
the
Lawrence.
only thing we talked about previously, is just really pressing upon Senator Alexander, the importance of the legislation to this Reconstitution process. And I think we had kicked around with the ad hoc committee and maybe in the Oconee Joint Regional Board meeting, the idea of potentially bringing on a lobbyist to shepherd the process through. I don't know if that conversation is continuing at all, but I just put that back out there as a source of conversation, just due to the importance of the legislation and the kind of full Reconstitution process, that we keep it on the front burner.
So, update on that too, just to let others know that weren't with the previous ad hoc committee, that we did speak. I did reach out to Earl Hunter, who's the former DHEC commissioner, who is now a lobbyist, and he is essentially ready and waiting for any direction that we provide to him as far as moving on with that. The decision that I believe we had initially was just to work directly with Senator Alexander and the local delegation, and then make the decision if we ultimately needed to bring someone else on board, and that's where we are. But Earl Hunter and his team are fully aware of, I believe they have seen copies of this, and they're just waiting for further direction if we need them.
Well, no, and that's good too, because he also is the lobbyist for the combined associations, water associations. So he can also, if anybody else sees this that might be an authority and is concerned, he can help kind of smooth that over. At least, whether he's actively engaged on doing this, I think he knows about it. So I think that's good that you talked to him. So.
Any further comment or discussion, questions?
So I guess I have just a question, and this may be more toward Lawrence and where he feels with this, but do you recommend, do we need to begin moving forward with this at all, Lawrence? Do we need to approve this as a committee? Or what's the step that we need to do to push this forward?
I think it's largely been approved. I think it's been approved by the ad hoc committee. It's been approved by the OJRSA board. If we want to have a formal approval at the Reconstitution committee level, that's perfectly fine. But obviously, we don't really control it. I think the direction is that you shared it with Senator Alexander, and we need to impress upon him our request to have it pre-filed as part of the pre-filed legislation, so it's on the legislative calendar, and that process is typically done in December. And so I think we just want some confirmation that it will be introduced before the start of the session, because if this is the last year of the 2-year legislative cycle, and so there's not a ton of wiggle room for this thing to delay. And we want to just make sure that it gets the kind of the full support that it needs. And Senator Alexander has obviously all the juice to pull that through. We just need to make sure that he is committed to it.
I mean, I would think that the Sewer Authority Board would be the appropriate voting body. We're a work group,
Yep.
not necessarily a
Well, and
authoritative.
I thought we
jurisdiction.
had already approved it, Lawrence says we have.
Yeah, I think so. So I mean, I wouldn't think we would need to as long as the board has, because they're the jurisdictional authority over the operation, so.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Anything else related to that item? All right, moving on to item C5, receive responses to questions and comments from the municipalities and the county. Lawrence, Lynn.
So I think we received comments from all of the existing members as well as the town of West Union, and Catherine consolidated those into a consolidated document. To the extent there was some overlap, we just left them in there because we wanted everyone to kind of have the format of the question in the manner in which it was presented. And so with the consulting group consisting of me and Joel and Catherine and Chris and Angie, we kind of took our best shot at answering the questions as we best knew them. It's obviously still what I consider to be a working draft, but it's something that I don't believe anyone other than those consultants have seen those proposed answers. So I don't think we're asking for any follow-up on them today because you're just receiving them, but wanted to give it to you, make sure that it gets shared back with your various councils to the extent there are follow-up questions or concerns or things that require, kind of supplemental answers to. We would just request that those get requested. I think we've also had some conversations back and forth with the county. They haven't formally met to approve their the approval resolution, but from the feedback we received from them, basically the questions that had already been asked were also what they were looking for as well. So tried to make them as direct and concise as possible, and be as transparent as we possibly can in this entire process. I think the answers as proposed do that. But certainly, have no pride of authorship on any of them, and to the extent there are things that don't make sense or require further explanation or need more detail, I would just ask that it be relayed back to your various councils, and we can certainly continue to keep that document as kind of a work in progress. I don't think it has to be something that we set aside and say this is done, because the goal here is to make sure that any questions that pop up through this process, as they pop up, continue to get addressed so that there is no miscommunication as we continue to work through this process.
Can we get a copy of that electronically, whoever the author or
Yeah.
the holder of the
I
document is?
I can forward it to everyone. I got it, like I said, I've received it from Lawrence, and I'll send it out to the committee.
All right. Any questions about the questions in the comments?
Comments about the question?
Well, I think you guys did a great job. I obviously hadn't read it verbatim, but skimming it, it looks like you did a pretty good job of putting some answers to it. And I'll take it back to the Westminster Council, and I think there could be a few more questions that come from it, which may be an iterative process, but.
Of course, I expect that. I mean, this is not something that happens every day, nor is it an easy, clear-cut process. So definitely.
Mayor Oliver, I was just wondering if there was a way to make sure that, because you and your council had some questions, want to make sure that you have the full ability to give any additional questions or responses back. So when Chris sends that out, if you have more questions, please send those back to Chris so that they can get to this committee and to the consultants so we can see if there's a response to that.
And I'll also put a copy of this on our website. So wherever you go on the website that goes in our agendas, I'll make sure to upload a copy of this to there for everyone to receive.
All right. Item C6, consider initial and revisions to the corrective action plan and capital improvement plan updates as submitted to the OJRSA by the cities beginning in 2024 for determining needs for technical and financial evaluation of systems. It's got me listed here, Chris. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with that.
I guess just leave the discussion on where these are, because this was something that was asked at the last
Right.
meeting that we had, and so I was to provide information to the cities regarding the capital or the corrective action plan and the CIPs that the cities provided to us per request. Was that about a year ago now, I think it was? So it was to see if there had been any updates to that in that time. So I guess really it's just kind of
Have you gotten any, I know you sent it to Westminster, I'm assuming you sent it to other cities. Have you got any information back?
I did not, and when I left, when I was away from the office a few weeks ago, I just had everybody send out an email just saying submit to Angie if there were any updates while I was away. So I don't know if you received any.
Have not. And, I think that what we're trying to get at here is, we're trying to get a more realistic picture of what the future capital needs are for each system. So there's varying degrees of content and information in each of these documents. Some have some good numbers in them, some do not. So if we want to use this process, then we're going to need to dig into this just a little bit more and put some meat around what the capital, what you guys think the capital needs are. I think looks like Westminster. I mean, y'all have 10 million planned out over the next 10 years. Looks like. So I mean, that's probably one of the more in-depth ones with as far as the numbers go. I think Walhalla had about a 1.5 million in near term. So we just kind of need to know, is this, what are we looking at? I think Seneca had a lot of plans and studies. I think you guys had a pump station. You had like $7 million that you're doing right now on pump station upgrades and about 1.5 to 2 million on the next pump station. But I don't know if that's everything. And I don't know what we're talking about. Even with some of the studies, I don't know what numbers to plug in there. Are they $500,000 studies? Are they $2 million studies? Where are we in
Most of
town?
our studies were for expansion, not necessarily any kind of improvements to the existing system.
So the ones that were listed in here were I&I studies of basins and improvements. The ones that I was looking at, pulling out, they were like the I&I study for Martins Creek Basin, then the Basin Creek renewal, then Perkins Creek I&I study, Perkins Creek Basin renewal.
Why they sent all those to you? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. But they didn't have numbers, they were just TBD. And I get that. If we can just put even if they caveat it and say, look, this is a planning level estimate only, that gets us closer to being able to use this information and not have to redo everything. Because I'll be honest, so looking at the scope of work for what they did in Greenville County with Metro Connects, it was not going out and doing SSES. It was desktop evaluation with information provided by each of the entities. And it was high level planning cost. So we can pull together a summary like that if everybody will just dig in just a little bit and give us some more information.
So with, I guess with what you're saying and asking for, would that be used to determine the system valuation as well as the effort that's going to be needed for the technical?
So I think it's all goes together. The valuation from, that all plays in, that comes from annual reports as well with regard to condition, depreciation, all of that plays into it, debt, service. But yeah, we have to have this number to go into the financial piece of it. And the financial piece is kind of that valuation and then also that rate piece. Metro Connects had 2 different financial consultants do those. You don't have to do that. You can probably have one do it. But all of that plays into it. Not saying we have to know every inch of your system at this point. I think if we all agree that right now we probably don't want to spend a lot of money on doing in-depth field assessment, I think that's fine, but we just need more information to build this out appropriately. And certainly, you can also come at some of this. I know there's a lot of work in progress. What portion of your system are you renewing right now? What is that? How much did that cost? You can extrapolate that over the rest of your system to get at least a number of what we're talking about. So, just trying not to spend money we don't have to spend.
Will you send me mine back to me? Bob did all that.
Yeah.
And now that he's not here.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm thinking of, Angie, is I've read that Walhalla, you guys just got, I guess, skip approval to do some more work.
Right, so I've got to add that in now.
Okay.
That we've received that approval.
Good.
And we did the same thing, and right now, our approval is, we've got roughly 3.2 million.
Right.
And so we did a unit price with the contractor.
Right.
So however
keep
far that
going,
gets
right.
us, yeah, so we
Yeah. Might keep going.
We might get 200 linear feet, we might get 5.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
kinda depends.
No, that's exactly, so I think we can get there with what we have if everybody will just give us just a little bit more information, so.
Okay. We will do that.
Okay. And then I think from
Well,
there.
can I ask before that, could we time bound it? Like, I work better when you give me a deadline. When you just say get to it,
Right.
it goes on a list, and I'll get to it.
I think
Ish.
we need to have, I'll put it to you. So we're working off of trying to get, if we need to go out on the street for anything, get folks under contract by December 14th.
Yeah, I saw that in the response.
That may not happen, which, okay, that was in a very aggressive timeline to begin with. But I think if we can do it within 30 days, if you get pushback, I know everybody's got consultants working and everybody's busy, so if you get pushback on that, just let us know. But again, it's high level stuff that I think we need right now, not.
Well, because once we get to the holidays, then just the number of times I ride through Seneca to look at all the lights takes away some of my work.
Exactly. No, I get it. I think we're probably not going to be able to hit that December deadline, but I would rather.
But like for us, could we maybe have sometime prior to Thanksgiving as our deadline?
Yes.
To do that?
Yeah. That's what I was saying. 30 days, if that works.
And will y'all send that out? Because I'll
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you need like a bullet list of what exactly, are you clear on what you need to provide?
Why don't you give me a bullet, if you're a good bullet
Let's test
lister,
it.
yeah.
Get the bullet list.
And I'm saying that for me, does that work for
That's fine.
you guys?
No, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
just
mean-
need mine back, because Bob submitted all that
Yeah,
for
yeah.
us, so.
And again, I can't, I'm not gonna go through each one because everybody's was a little bit different, but I'll just say that if you can, even 10 years is better. I mean, I think 5 is more clear, but 10 gets us into the bigger picture stuff.
Okay.
And it is a reasonable planning period for what we're trying to accomplish here.
Will you put that in the bullet, Catherine?
You got it.
I shake my head here and I walk out the room, forget.
And I will share, I tell you what we'll do, at this point, I will share the scopes of work for the 2 financial consultants that did the financial evaluation, valuation, and rate study with everybody, just so you can kind of see what that looks like.
Well, regarding that real quick, do you think that they are gonna wanna see our most recent audits?
Yes.
To do that?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so we'll have ours in December. Do you guys usually get yours done by December?
Yeah.
We are this year.
And the good news is, we do have, from the study that started all of this, we've got a lot of background data that we can share with whoever is going to be on the financial side working on this. And a piece of this somewhat was done by Wildan with the OJRSA rate model. So I think you're maybe in just a little bit of a better position than Metro Connects was when they started down this process, just because we did a little bit of that work. I almost look at what we did for the regionalization study as what they contracted an engineer to do for the Metro Connect study. It was very similar, and
I'll let you know this too, because I know that as part of what we had asked everyone to do for the corrective action plan was to do a rate study
Mhm.
for their system. I know Westminster completed one by Telus, and I
Yes,
think it.
and I sent that to Angie,
Okay.
Catherine, and Joel.
All right.
I can send it to you. I think I sent a copy.
I think I downloaded a copy from your website. I think I saw it on there or something, or you may have sent it to you.
yeah, if anybody else has done that, I think Seneca, you guys do it as needed, but every 5 years at least, or something like that. Anything you got, that's, the more we give them, the better the product is gonna be, and the more tightly they can scope it, which means that it will hopefully cut down on some costs, so.
So if we don't make that December date, then January is your next fallback date. But I wonder, like, holidays always seem to kind of
Look.
skew the.
I am more about, like, this is my opinion, I'm more about us making meaningful progress and not just trying to hit milestone dates just on account. Because I don't want to do it haphazardly. This is a very, very complex process with a lot of moving parts. And sometimes we have to just take a step back and let things, and I think this is one of those.
Okay.
Because I think it makes it, if we give you time, everybody time to put together some real meaningful data for us, I think it will end up being better in the long run. So.
I guess I'm anticipating the outcome of that possibly being a pivot point for a lot of the councils.
That is correct.
Because, I mean, you go through, nearly all of them had the same question.
Right. Right.
We're gonna give you this, what you gonna give us?
That's right.
And I think that's a fair question, because as a public asset managed by these councils, they're gonna wanna know that. And I just kinda anticipate we get to the point where that's the next thing that we're waiting on, and I
Right.
didn't wanna.
Yeah, but also,
But I agree with your
Yeah.
what you said.
because it's so important, I would like to take a little bit of time and not just try and force something in just to say we hit December 14th. So, I mean, I think if you guys can I'll share the scopes of work with the whole committee of what was done. If you all have done any rate information, you can share that. audits as they become available. We do have everyone's previous audits. Again, we collected all of that through the other study, so we can share with whoever is selected. We can share that information, and we certainly can if you all would like us to. We can synthesize what we get back based on what we did with the previous study to get to those capital numbers that then feed into everything else. And that way we're not worried about, we don't have to go out on the street for an engineering evaluation, because again, if you read the scope, it was all desktop and it was all based on readily available data from each of the entities, which is what we did and what we're asking you guys to do. So,
Do Celia, Scott, or Mayor Oliver, do any of y'all foresee any reason why that wouldn't be sufficient for decision-making for your councils?
I mean, no. I mean, I can't begin to question or
Yeah, I know, till you get in there, you don't know what questions are gonna come up.
opine on what my group's gonna do, but yeah, I think it should be sufficient. I mean, they still have, to be honest with you, a lot of concerns.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of concerns.
sure.
On voting, on representation, on money, on
Right.
control, accountability, and all of it. So, mine may not be easy.
Yeah, understood. So, but at least you're giving us that information. That's, I mean, you're giving us the capital numbers that you're planning off of. It should be planning off of. So that's all we're asking for. And and I think that's probably, I think it's money's better spent on the valuation and the financial pieces of it if we all agree that what you're providing to us is realistic and meaningful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would it be helpful if we just developed individual folders for each of you and put in what we already have so that you can like look and be like, oh, they already got that? Because you might
Yeah.
forget what you've already sent us, and then you
Yeah,
can see the
because-
gaps.
Yeah, like Scott, I've had multiple people sending you guys stuff and I get copied on it, but when I don't send it, to your point, Catherine.
Yeah, would that be
Be very
helpful? 'Cause
Yeah,
we could do
very
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Any concerns by the COG with our process?
Does the sewer authority have an evaluation done of the plant and their assets as well?
We've done that. That's our plan right there.
Well, that's the capital improvement plan. Is that the valuation of your assets?
Well, that's what, I don't know how that's gonna be
Yeah.
handled.
Yeah, I think that would be part of the whole process.
Yeah. And we, I guess with Ardura being involved with our consent order and our CMOM and us having, I guess we've done considerable CCTV work,
Right.
that there's an understanding, at least a general understanding of the
Right.
condition of our existing assets, so we
Right.
can forecast to the rest of the
Right.
system.
Yeah. I mean, it's a forecasting situation based on what you know, the age, the material, all of those things. Your consultants, I have no doubt, can give us some high level numbers based on that. So. And I like I said, I think apart from going out there and doing CCTV on everybody's system, I think that's the best option. I don't think we need to spend that money doing that right now.
Well, if we have most, if not all of our system mapped.
Mhm.
And so part of our ongoing maintenance is pulling manhole lids, doing evaluation, doing cameras when we have to, doing
Right.
smoke tests. So we have a lot of that. I wouldn't say it's comprehensive across the whole system, but we've got a lot of that we'll be able to turn over
Right.
when the point comes.
Yeah.
So there'll be that data that'll be more technical rather than financial.
Sure.
So I guess you're gonna figure out how to marry those two together.
Yeah. Yes.
That's why we pay y'all the big bucks. Before we move on, we didn't have, you didn't give me a place for comments and discussion, Chris, so I'm gonna use my executive.
That might have been on purpose.
I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda.
So what do we think is will be the topics that we need to discuss at the next meeting? Like, I think we've got a lot of things in motion. And we're waiting for those things to come through. What are we looking at?
So maybe feedback on the 2 scopes of work for the financial piece of it, what y'all think.
Okay.
Whether you want to marry them together. I'm quite sure there was method to Metro Connect's madness of splitting it out, but it doesn't have to be. It can all be one group. So Joel, do you have any comment? Do you know why Metro split it out, or?
If he's speaking, he didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got off mute. What was the question?
So Metro Connects, when they did their consolidation study, had one financial consultant doing the valuation piece and then one consultant doing the rate piece. Do you remember if they had a reason for doing that? Because there's probably no reason one couldn't do it.
I've got some opinions on that. That might be something best asked of Carol. I bet
Okay.
she would give you some insight.
Okay.
I think it
When
was
you, when you say the 2 financial consultants, do you mean Raftellus and First Tryon?
I do.
Yeah, so they wear very distinct and
Yeah.
separate roles. Raftellus is obviously a rate consultant
Right.
and has a separate group that does system valuation. And I think they use the pro forma operating numbers that First Tryon developed
Yeah.
to show operations and debt.
Okay.
And so I actually think there is real value
And splitting it
in
up.
having both, because they both do those things independently and well.
Okay. I thought that might be the case, but I wanted the discussion, but I'll share the scopes of work for the 2 now that Lawrence, it will be First Tryon and Raftellus are the 2 that did that. And I'll share those with everybody. I think we need to kind of come back and decide that's what we'll do, have 2 RFQ sort of situations, or however you guys want to handle it. So that's one thing.
And the other thing I would add on to that is, so I know with respect to Oconee Joint Regional, Willdan has obviously done some rate work in the past, and First Tryon has been affiliated for some financial advisory planning. I don't know their relationship with the other member cities, so to the extent that either one of those firms is also involved with the member municipalities, that may be beneficial.
Right.
Just to kind of make it as seamless as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we're involved with Raftellus and First Tryon.
Okay.
All right.
The,
Would you have? I'm sorry, Catherine. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say the other agenda item would be to discuss the cost sharing for
For
this
anything,
actual
yeah.
work,
Okay.
and how you guys want to break it up, and we can do versions of that spreadsheet that I previously showed you, or however you want to.
And I think
Send
Lawrence
that.
had some ideas as well on that.
Yeah.
This is non sequitur, but earlier you said SSES, and for the life of me, I
Okay.
can't think of what that acronym is.
Sanitary sewer evaluation system is, or
Okay, well, I just didn't think system felt like the right
Yeah.
word at the end.
that's,
but
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I should have asked you a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Study
Study.
system,
Study.
yeah.
But once you put evaluation in there, shouldn't you just end it? Like, you don't need that next S. I'm sorry, I'm going down.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We have
Yeah.
too many acronyms in this industry as it is.
I know you guys love them, and that's great.
Yeah, that was my point, is I don't know that we need to do that at this, to
Right.
get to, I think if everyone can give us high-level capital numbers for the next 10 years,
Well,
we could get there.
that's what's gonna have to be done after this all
It will.
happens.
It will.
Anyways.
That's right. I mean, but it can be done on a prioritized basis
Mhm.
over time, not trying to do it all for each system
But-
right now.
Do you think though that is part of, because we have this built into
Right.
ours, should the cities
Yes,
include the cost
yes,
of these future
yes.
SSES?
That's why I was talking about Seneca's. It
Yeah.
just had it. I know you got it planned out. I just don't have a number for
Yeah,
it.
okay.
Yes, anything
So I
like
think
that.
we have, gosh, I can't remember, I know that doing CCTV work, we didn't do any this year, but it was, $250,000
Yeah.
or more.
Well,
per
theoretically,
year.
everybody's supposed to do 10% of their system each year.
Yeah,
Theoretically,
and then continue it.
right?
It just
and
continues.
keep going around. Yes. Yeah.
Will you have us drafts of the RFQs by the next meeting?
No, well, unless you all provide feedback on what I'm going to send you. If that.
Well, I guess I was thinking more about the scope of work, or you need the information from us to develop the scope of work.
So not necessarily. These are what I'm going to send you is the scope of work for the other.
The ones that Metro-
Yes, the Metro did. Let everybody take a look at that. We can work on developing it off of those, but I think I want to give you time to look at it and see what kind of information they collected, and if you're comfortable with all of that. So.
Okay. So do we need to have that as a discussion for the next?
Yeah, that's what we get.
Lawrence, did you guys assist Metro at all with that?
Yeah, my
Yeah.
partner, Cedar Road represents.
Yeah.
Metro.
Of course he did. Lawrence has got his finger in every special purpose district in the state. I shouldn't say that, Lawrence. I'm sorry. I don't mean to I disparage you one-on-one. I shouldn't do it in public. I apologize.
I'm okay.
Yeah. All right.
There's a little truth to it.
Is there anything else before we adjourn? Mayor Oliver, any questions or comments for us to consider from you?
The only thing that, I haven't heard anything back from that resolution. I'm assuming I probably don't even need to sign one since we're not really a member.
Lawrence, do you have a response for Mayor Oliver on that? She
I thought it had already been adopted. If that's my mistake, we can certainly send comments over, but I thought it had been adjusted by Mary McCormick and had been approved in that form.
No, I
Is
think
that not correct?
she just adjusted it as and sent it to you to see if you.
If it was okay and
Yeah.
for me to sign that.
Got it. I will, if someone could resend that to me, I know I have it, but if someone could resend it to me, just put it at the top of my inbox, I'll give it a quick
Somebody would
review
do it.
and let you know.
Okay,
Anything else?
that's it.
Okay. Celia, anything from you guys over in Ohio?
Nothing further right now. Now that we've got that, thankfully approval, we'll get the other updated.
Scott, you guys? Good? Chris?
No,
anything?
sir. No.
Chip?
Nope.
That's all you're going to give us today is a nope?
That's
your
I giggled a minute ago.
And
I didn't let him put that into the minutes, just to show that he was here. Fake giggle.
I'm on the camera. It's in the back of my head. It's anonymous, but
Catherine, anything else before we break?
I was trying to see if I had that, the resolution, but I don't, so I don't know who has it.
I don't have it. I didn't see any update correspondence between
Lawrence, I can't help you.
Lawrence and Mary McCormick.
I thought she brought a hard copy to the meeting. You brought a hard copy to the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody got it.
Oh, that's the one that was sent to you? Okay, then if I'm the one that had it, I thought you were talking about discussions that had taken place between you guys after the fact, after that meeting. Have you spoken to Mary, Lawrence?
I have not. We were waiting to prepare those responses because I think my understanding was that she had prepared most of those questions for us.
And did you get a copy of these responses?
So yeah, I don't have anything in addition.
Okay. Angie, anything else? While you're searching Facebook, you want to?
No, when I was searching, I was looking for the Lawrence's
Okay.
email.
Anything else we need to consider from
No.
you today?
No.
Dick, I went around the room, asked everybody else. You got anything for us?
No, I'm like West Union. I don't anticipate being a member.
Okay. That's good to know.
But
All right.
a customer, but not a member.
Yeah, gotcha. With all that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor, please say, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye.